Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rakak Kodash. I want to give double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations of much love to the rest of you, sincere Akim, pushing the word in truth and sincerity. This is the Cleric Azar coming at you with another lesson. I am continuing in my law to bring you my ongoing series from excerpts of Hollywood, This Factory of Perverseness, another observation of predictive programming and how art imitates life and vice versa. Just a reminder, the purpose of my videos is to show correlations. A correlation is an observation of a mutual relationship or connection between two or more things. I use movies to extract or extrapolate a narrative. I'm not glorifying the Hollywood culture or life. I have a wide knowledge of films, whether they be foreign or domestic, and I just use them as an example to bring out those similarities and those correlations. To quote Cecil B. DeMille, the greatest source of material for motion pictures is the Bible. I call this lesson, Believe in the Most High and Yourself. This is part one. The image I have on display is from a film I watched in the past. Of course, being this truth, I reflect on this particular series. This movie was released on May 21st, 1980. The title of it is The Empire Strikes Back, or Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, directed by Irvin Kershner. Okay, I'm going to get right into it. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen this movie series or film, one of the greatest sequels of all time. I've done another lesson on this particular scene, but I didn't really think about concentrating on the latter part of it. But basically, Luke Skywalker here on the right is being trained by Yoda on the left. And Yoda is the master, and of course Luke is the student. And Yoda was going into a particular lesson about faith and believing in things. And he was talking about how you would need to actually believe in yourself or believe in what you're going to accomplish, and you'll be able to accomplish it. Because there was a scene where Luke's spaceship was in the marsh, and he had crashed there when he first came there looking for Yoda, and the spaceship began to sink even further. And so throughout the whole training lesson prior to the ship sinking, Yoda was showing him how he could lift certain objects with his mind, and like stones and so forth, and himself, and the droid that he brought along with him. So Luke, once he saw the ship fall deeper into the marsh, he felt as though it was too big to be lifted. And Yoda was telling him how it was only, bigger in his mind. And he had to unlearn what he had learned. And that goes with a lot of things in life, but it also goes with this truth as well. But as he was sitting there getting his lesson from Yoda, he did make an attempt to lift the ship out of the marsh. And he slumped down and tried to tell Yoda in this particular scene here while he's sitting down, he's like, it's just too big, it's just too big. And Yoda had this really deep monologue where he goes into the Force and so forth, and talking about his size and everything, and how how he can accomplish things. So after Luke had just shrugged it off, and like he's telling him, you believe in the impossible, and Yoda went and he lifted the ship like it was nothing. And when Luke approached the ship and touched it, and he walked back over to Yoda, he goes, I can't believe it. And Yoda goes, and that is why you fail. Okay, so hey, and the elder apostle Gabar always goes into it about how the greatest enemy for ourself is ourself. Okay, because that anytime you approach any type of endeavor, you got to make up that particular mind of commitment, or make the idea of commitment in your mind. Salakia. Okay, but I'm gonna go into some scriptures here, and it's going to hopefully edify you brothers out there that have those particular issues. I know my mother had really drilled this into me when I saw the film at the young age that I was, and she always brought up this particular lesson, and this is one of her favorite parts of the series. Okay, let's go into the book of Proverbs. We're going to go into the 3rd chapter, and we're going to start at the 5th verse. We're going to read all the way down to the 6th verse. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5, it says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight." Okay, and this is that path that we're on. Okay, and you can't lean on your own understanding about how you feel about yourself, and how you feel about where you've been, where you're currently at, or where you're going. Okay, because the Most High has actually made the path straight. So you go from one point to the next, or point A to point B, all right? And through all these things, the Most High, through His Son Yahushua, He's going to strengthen us, specifically the elect, all right, or I should say the hopeful elect, all right, because we don't know who the elect is at this point. Let's go into the book of Philippians, chapter 4, verse 13. Philippians chapter 4, verse 13, for it reads, I can do all things through Mashiach, which strengthened me. Okay, see that? All right, so the Most High, through His Son Yahushua, all right, is strengthening the elect to get through and endure through patience and much suffering these things we have to go through, and it's going to get a lot worse very soon with the Jacob's trouble, and as well as the failing of the dollar, as well as the incoming of the mark of the beast, okay, which is the RFID microchip, okay. But the Most High will direct the steps of the elect so they accomplish their task and as well as accomplish their goal. How do we know that? Well, let's go back into Proverbs. I'm going to go into the 16th chapter. I'm going to read verse 9. Proverbs chapter 16, verse 9, for it reads, a man's heart deviseth his way, but the Lord directeth his steps. Okay. Now in the NLT, I like this version as well. It reads, we can make our own plans. We can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. Okay. So I think it almost seems like a saying from Mike Tyson. He says, everyone has a plan until they get hit. Okay. And it's the Most High that actually determines, which particular step that is made. Everything is already planned out once the Heavenly Father said His words in the beginning. Okay. All right. But you can't trust in your own mind. You got to walk in the spirit of the Heavenly Father. All right, so that we can be delivered, because that's ultimately why Yahushua needs to return to save us, okay, and deliver us. Let's stay in the book of Proverbs, and we're going to go into chapter 28 and read verse 26. Proverbs chapter 28, verse 26, where it reads, he that trusteth in his own heart, all right, that heart is your mind, he that trusteth in his own heart is a fool, but whoso walketh wisely, he shall be delivered. See that? All right, that's salvation, that ultimate. All right, because you're not going to know who the elect is until the salvation occurs. All right, when the chariots arrive and beam up the elect. All right, to get those crowns. Okay, let's read the NLT. Those who trust their own insight are foolish, but anyone who walks in wisdom is safe. You see that? All right, because you're not going to be safe, when these bombs are dropping, and you need to be safe to get through Jacob's trouble. All right, to be finally delivered. Okay, and the scriptures back up the elect being saved, even scarcely, but no one knows who's actually going to be saved, or who knows who's going to be executed and get beheaded, because the scriptures do say these things are going to happen. Okay, but faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, as pertaining to Hebrews chapter 11 verse 1. Okay, the NLT version of this also reads and says, faith shows the reality of what we hope for. It is the evidence of things we cannot see. Okay, so no one has seen it as of yet. Of course, the prophets of old were given visions to see these things as they occurred, so they know it's going to happen. That's why they wrote it in the Old and New Testament to begin with. Okay, but I'm just going to end it on this. I always like to end my videos on a good note, some type of silver lining. And there is light at the end of the tunnel. So in other words, there is a happy ending. And this is always brought out in these pork chop eating churches, but these pork chop eating pastors. But I'm going to bring it out in this particular lesson. John 3, verse 16 and 17. All right, John 3, verse 16. For the Most High so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in Him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For the Most High sent not His Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through Him might be saved. Now, that world, that's talking about the world for the Israelites, okay? All right, because that's the ultimate plan of the Heavenly Father, to have the kingdom of heaven set up on the earth, and that's going to be set up with the new rulership, and the new elite being the elect of Israel, okay, or the New Jerusalem. All right, of course, after World War III has popped off, okay. All right, but we'll have the war to end all wars. Okay, and well, I just wanted to share that. I just was dwelling on this after the most recent drive I had, and I just wanted to put this in as a lesson because I was it's helped me throughout the years, even as a young boy, just thinking about just belief in itself. Okay, but hey, this particular belief is only for a small few. Okay. All right, a little long, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, who gives me the strength and the spirit to continue to strive and endure in these last days. Shalom to the hopeful elect, and on to the next video.